Welcome to Macon, Georgia, home of Norfolk Southern's Brosnan Yard. The date is September 18th, 2020, and we're on a mission to document the Georgia Central Railroad's first intermodal train between Macon and Vidalia, Georgia. As a result of flooding on the Norfolk Southern line between Macon and Savannah, Georgia Central would pull 3 Norfolk Southern intermodal trains over the former MD&S main line. This bustling hump yard was one of the former Southern Railway's first to utilize computers to sort out cars on outbound trains. Opened in 1966, Brosnan is named for who might be Southern Railway's most controversial president, D. William Brosnan. He began his career with the company in 1926, starting out as an apprentice track engineer in Macon. He would continue to climb the corporate ladder and became the company vice president in 1952. Over the next decade, he would work alongside Harry D. Butts to improve Southern Railway's vast system. Called the Railroad's Messiah, Brosnan was responsible for much of Southern Railway's growth in the decades following World War II. Some of these improvements included mechanizing track maintenance, retiring steam locomotives, centralizing locomotive and car repair, the implementation of the industry's first hump yards, and consolidating operating regions and departments. However, he was a polarizing figure. As an employee or company manager, you either loved him or hated him. There was no in-between. According to railroad historian Bill Schaefer, writing for Trains magazine in 2001, quote, D.W. Brosnan was nothing if not controversial. He disdained mindless government bureaucracy, micromanaged his company to a fault, infuriated his rank-and-file employees, and controlled his managers alternately with fear and greed, end quote. Brosnan's fierce management strategy would allow the railroad to consolidate and innovate while rewarding both the shareholders and the customers with a strong return on investment and reliable transportation. Working the yard this morning are a variety of EMD locomotives, including the unique SD33 Eco class. At the time this video was recorded, Brosnan Yard saw an estimated 10,000 cars per week and employed about 250 personnel. For over 50 years, the classification yard was a major hub for the railroad's southernmost region, but that all changed on November 1st, 2020. According to Trains magazine, the hump at Brosnan Yard was idled in an effort to consolidate the classification of cars under the philosophy of precision scheduled railroading. All classification work for the railroad's southernmost territory will be handled in either Atlanta or Chattanooga. Today, Brosnan is a mere shell of what it once was, and is yet another casualty of precision scheduled railroading. These eco-friendly, low-emissions locomotives were rebuilt in a series of 14 units over a period of 2 years between 2016 and 2018. Their building cost was subsidized by a Congestion Mitigation and Air Quality Improvement Program grant, which was administered through various federal and state agencies. They're often used in yard service and can be found working the humps in and around the state of Georgia. These 3,000 horsepower locomotives meet Tier 3 emission standards and are equipped with the latest electronic technology. The RPU 6D slug locomotives, like the one sandwiched in the middle of the consist of this pair, were also partially funded through grants and are often mated to the SD33 Ecos for enhanced traction and braking ability. In addition to the Ecos, several pairs of GP40 mother slug sets could be seen working the yard, including Norfolk Southern 725 and a GP40-2 number 3043. A trio of EMD SD60E rebuilds were also seen shuffling around the yard. These three sister locomotives would be assigned to Empty Rock Train G10, which runs from Macon to Postel, Georgia, to a large quarry. Norfolk Southern rosters 136 total SD60Es. Norfolk Southern also rosters 107 former Norfolk and Western SD40-2s. These units are often found in yard and local service. Some of the 6000 series SD40-2s are equipped with bidirectional controls, including the 6188. SD33 Eco number 6213 started life as Pennsylvania Railroad SD40 number 6102. It was built in March of 1966 and served the Pennsy for less than 2 years before becoming part of the Penn Central system in 1968. The SD40 would later serve on Conrail's roster from 1976 through 1999, being renumbered twice and rebuilt as an SD40-2R before being acquired by Norfolk Southern. While on NS, the veteran locomotive was renumbered to 3436, where it hauled freight in both road and local service. After 50 years of faithful service on the railroad, the locomotive was selected to be rebuilt as an SD33 Eco at Juniata Shops in Altoona, Pennsylvania in June of 2016. It was completed in December of that year. 6221 has a very similar history and was rebuilt by Juniata in December of 2018. An interesting note about this scene is that all of the locomotives are Juniata rebuilds. Norfolk Southern's aggressive rebuild program over the last 10 years has saved the company millions of dollars by extending the lives of the locomotives for at least 2 decades. We left the yard momentarily to document an approaching Norfolk Southern manifest freight train. We were delighted to see a train with an all-EMD lash-up. In addition, this train was pulling a rare Union Pacific boxcar, which is fast approaching the 50-year mandatory FRA retirement mark. We returned to the north end of Brosnan Yard to find an RPE4C road slug leading Operation Lifesaver GP40-2, number 3053 on a local out of the yard. A slug is an accessory to a diesel-electric locomotive. It has trucks with traction motors, but unlike a B unit, it cannot generate power on its own since it lacks a prime mover. Instead, the slug is connected to a powered locomotive called a mother, which provides the needed electrical power to operate the traction motors and the motor controls. Slugs are used to increase adhesive weight, allowing full power to be applied at a lower speed, thus allowing a higher maximum tractive effort. They're often used in low-speed operations such as switching in yards. At low speeds, a diesel-electric locomotive prime mover is capable of producing more electricity than its traction motors can use effectively. Extra power would cause the wheels to slip and possibly overheat the traction motors. By increasing the number of traction motors available to the locomotive to use, slugs also increase both the pulling and braking power. In addition, the load on each traction motor is reduced, which helps prevent overheating from excess current. Slugs typically carry ballast to increase their weight and improve traction. In this case, large blocks of concrete are used for this purpose, substituting the weight of the now absent prime mover. Just before 11 a.m., the train we were waiting for, Georgia Central L781, finally departed. Leading the double-stack intermodal train out of Macon would be 4 EMD GP38-2s. Due to weight restrictions between Macon and Dublin, 6-axle locomotives are barred from operation on the west end of the Georgia Central. Thus, the incredibly rare opportunity to document 4 axles pulling double stacks was afforded to us. Due to flooding from Hurricane Sally, Norfolk Southern's Savannah district between Macon and Savannah suffered a severe washout, which led to the derailment of Train 191 at Davisboro. Since the main line was in disrepair, Georgia Central would handle Norfolk Southern's high-priority intermodal traffic over the weekend. Today's L781 is actually Norfolk Southern Train 232. At 6,400 tons, the 4 EMDs would get a workout pulling the intermodal train.